I think Kash should ask the president to appoint a special counsel. I've been advocating that too, directly to investigate the FBI. The FBI shouldn't investigate the FBI. Now, there have been other confirmation hearings that have been, again, there have been slow walking of Trump's nominees. I attended Kash Patel's nomination hearing, confirmation hearing at the Judiciary Committee earlier this week, and it was a interesting confirmation hearing. And one of the interesting things about it, there were many, some of which were comical, others which were disturbing, others were just kind of just straightforward DC. The usual is that the Democrats really didn't have anything, the left really didn't have anything to go after Kash Patel on. And it was very strange when Senator Durbin, who is the leading Democrat on the Judiciary Committee, he began his questioning, and I thought, well, this is not good for the Democrats, because it sounded to me like Durbin really wasn't even interested in questioning Kash Patel. And of course, Kash Patel arrived ready for battle. He's been through worse. He's a brave patriot. In theory, I could have gone to any confirmation hearing of any of the cabinet officials that Trump appointed. But I chose to go to Kash Patel's because that's how important I think that issue is. And Kash handled the attacks on him, which were really pretty weak, pretty well. So, maybe, I guess, I say they were weak, but maybe a lesser person would have been able to manage it as well as Kash Patel. And one of the worst people in Congress in terms of ethics, I would say probably the worst, is Adam Schiff. And I had this picture I put up of Adam Schiff, and just putting a picture of him, people recognize immediately him for the charlatan he is. And in a hearing room full of senators, their staff, media people, activists like me, regular citizens, Schiff, by a far greater extent than anyone else, is mendacious and political. The absolute worst. Here's a little piece of Schiff and Kash getting into it.
You've claimed, Mr. Patel, you didn't know about any of these people in the choir. Is that right?
I did not know about the violent offenders, and I did not participate in any of the violence in and around January 6th.
Tell me, Mr. Patel, what due diligence did you do to find out who was in the choir before you promoted their beautiful music? These people who assaulted law enforcement, what due diligence did you do?
Senator, I didn't record it myself.
So you did no due diligence before you promoted this song by these violent felons. Is that what you're telling us?
Senator, I did not record that myself.
So you're being considered for director of the FBI.
Okay, I'm not going to torture you with any more of Adam Schiff than necessary for you to get the flavor of what he had to put up with. And let me just say something generally about confirmation hearings. They're a waste. They do nothing to advance, in my view, the Senate's constitutional role for advice and consent. They're not needed. They are a vehicle for the left to attack conservative nominees and the nominees of Republicans, whether they're conservative or not, either to stop them or smear and abuse them and keep them on a leash after they go through the process because they've been so scarred. In terms of their length and the intrusiveness of the whole confirmation process, it's a modern phenomena that arose with the rise of the administrative state. They don't want good people in government. So that's why they do what they did to Kash Patel. Look at Cory Booker, the senator from New Jersey.
In this, we are in agreement, Senator. Get my grand jury testimony. I want it made public. I asked the Department of Justice to make it public, and they refused to do so.
There is no legal bound against you telling us right now what you testified to.
When I asked for my transcript to be released,
Sir, did you or did you not commit a crime?
Senator, I did not commit a crime.
Then why won't you tell us what you testified to?
Because it occurred over the course of 3 weeks. I don't have the ability to recall everything I testified to, but I'm asking you to put my transcript out.
Did you testify to witness?
Okay, again, more absurdity. Now, Booker is something else because he shows up saying how ill he had the flu, and then later I noticed he's wearing a mask. Look at, and I posted this picture of him on Twitter or X, him wearing a mask, and I got a strong reaction. I think it's gotten 1 million views. So he shows up, he's wearing the mask, but then he takes it off to yell at Kash Patel. I mean, if that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about the absurdity of the process and the whole craziness around mask wearing, I don't know what does. So he's so sick that he needs to wear a mask, but he gets to take it off and talk for 10 minutes. So I guess I can blame him for taking the mask off if I get sick, right? Craziness. But of course, the reason they don't want Kash Patel to succeed is because they're deathly afraid of him. And I would submit that one of the reasons that, despite all the noise you see in the media about the battles that Kash had, it was pretty boring in terms of a hearing. There's some, Kash obviously, it wasn't boring for him. But if you're sitting there, despite the drama that you see on the screen, you have to understand there's all sorts of other things going on in the hearing room. No one in the hearing room took any of this seriously, at least what the Democrats were questioning him over. I mean, everyone was just waiting for the Democrats and the left to finish their questions. They knew how it was going to go. No one thought it was going to change the outcome of his confirmation. He's going to get confirmed. So it was much ado about nothing. But one of the reasons I think they were soft on Kash, I know you may think they weren't soft, but they were soft, because he knows too much. Kash worked for Devin Nunes. He worked at the senior levels at the Trump administration in intelligence and national security matters. He knows what happened on January 6th. He knows what level or to what extent the FBI is willing to abuse the rule of law to target political opponents of the regime. Because he's a victim, they targeted him. And he's willing to do something about it. Here's Senator Josh Hawley, through questioning, highlighting why the left so fears Kash Patel.
Do you think it's appropriate for the FBI to try and pressure the largest technology corporations in the world, the most powerful corporations in the world, the social media companies? Do you think it's appropriate for the FBI to pressure them to censor the political speech of everyday American citizens to try and violate the First Amendment? Is that appropriate, do you think, Mr. Patel?
No, Senator.
Will you put an end to this, Mr. Patel, if you are confirmed at the FBI?
Senator, if confirmed, I will work with Congress to expose any corrupt activities the FBI has participated in, especially involved in the censorship of free speech.
And then he was asked further questions about other FBI misconduct under the Biden gang.
Do you think it is appropriate for the FBI to be sending agents, including counterterrorism agents, to the parents of children who went to school board meetings and asked about critical race theory in their schools, asked about the school's masking policy during COVID? Should those parents be treated as domestic terrorists?
Parents who have the courage to ensure their children are taught what they feel is right, and those who have the courage of their convictions to go houses of worship, in my book, will never be domestic terrorists.
And will you make clear that those who supported this policy are appropriately disciplined? And will you make clear that the FBI will never do something like this again?
If confirmed and pursuant to your congressional request, absolutely, Senator.
Thank you.
And then look what Kash's description was of his facing racism for not doing the less bidding. I have a watch video of his commentary or testimony in that regard.
Because of my personal information being released by Congress, I was subjected to a direct and significant threat on my life. And I put that information in the record. I had to move. In that threat, I was called a detestable, and I'll apologize if I don't get it all right, but it's in the record, a detestable sand nigger who had no right being in this country, You should go back to where you came from. You belong with your terrorist home friends. That's what was sent to me. That's just a piece of it. But that's nothing compared to what the men and women in law enforcement face every day. And that's why they have my support.
So Kash really hit it out of the park, as you can see. And he's going to get confirmed. But right now, there's no appointed head of the FBI that's gone through the process. There's obviously an acting person. So the FBI is moribund because there's no one running the show, practically speaking. There's probably going to be some action by the Trump administration, but an acting director doesn't have the powers and the prestige and the credibility to take the big steps that a confirmed director does, as Kash needs to be. And now, to be clear, did I agree with everything Kash said? No. You know, for instance, he disagreed with President Trump's commutations of the sentences of J6 defendants who were convicted or pled guilty of assaulting police officers. I think that whole process was compromised, and so those prosecutions are compromised. So they should have their sentences commuted. And if you think the violence was significant enough to warrant their jailing, they were put in jail, so they weren't fully pardoned. And I thought it was a compromise by President Trump. You know, the other issue is that I thought was interesting. Senators Kennedy and Tom Tillis, Senator Tom Tillis was very supportive of Kash and presented him to the committee. They were telling Kash, especially Senator Kennedy, oh, don't burn it down. When you go to the FBI, don't burn it down, lift it up. Now, I don't want the FBI literally burned down, but I do want the FBI significantly reformed and curtailed. And I'm not sure it can be redeemed. I only half-jokingly say that Kash Patel should be the last FBI director. I don't think it can be saved. It's a cudgel that's been used repeatedly against political enemies of presidents time and time again. So something's wrong with the way the FBI is run culturally. And the fact that they were so willing to go after Trump like they did, and conservative Americans, and happily go along with the Biden's dramatic transition of America almost overnight into a banana republic, makes me think they can't be trusted at all. So Kash is the right guy, but as you know, I told our friend Benny Johnson, who's the conservative influencer online, podcaster, a great guy, that I think Kash should ask the president to appoint a special counsel. I've been advocating that too, directly to investigate the FBI. The FBI shouldn't investigate the FBI. The one other interesting thing that Kash noted that I think is a good idea, because I know I'll talk more about this issue with Tulsi Gabbard in a bit, is that Kash noted there are 38,000 employees of the FBI. I think 12,000, the last time I checked the numbers, I think it's like 10 to 12 are agents. And then, of course, there are analysts and such that aren't, quote, FBI agents, but are as important to the operations of the FBI as others. And then you have admin and other employees. But 38,000 is too big in the least. But he noted a third of them are working in the D.C. area alone. And his goal is to disperse them throughout the United States to do the sort of crime fighting people expect the FBI to actually do, as opposed to the politicized operations and cases and really just ladder climbing that goes on in the bureaucracies for employees centered here in Washington, D.C. Put them, you may have seen the news, I'm sure you've seen the news about the immigration efforts, enforcement efforts by President Trump. Get the FBI involved in that in a more significant way. Reports are the FBI is complaining they've been asked to do anything on this already. I'd have them explicitly part of the team in a significant way. So there's a lot to be done. Kash can't do enough. He can't be confirmed soon enough, given the crisis at the FBI. Whether Kash can, quote, rescue the FBI? Now, I don't want to be cynical, but we'll probably get good and bad from the Kash Patel FBI. And Kash will be the first one to tell you that's probably right, Tom, because he's just one man. But we can, as we've noted before, one man with the right leadership potential can save a country. So prayers for Kash, and I'm going to give him early congratulations because I'm so convinced he's going to be FBI director. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.